Hey everyone, my name is Michael with Patient Care Marketing Pros. So I typically in this room I co-host with Nick a Walk-ins Welcome podcast episode, but I'm also going to be using this to help teach you guys some really good, simple information that can help grow your clinic. And today we're going to talk about optimizing your Google Business Profile. Now, we all know what a Google Business Profile is. It's that profile on Google for your business. And the whole point of it is that Google wants an individual to interact with that profile. It kind of represents your online business more so than just your website. And they want to have some interaction there before they make it to your website or click to call you and all the different things. So we're going to go through it. Most of you, I'm going to make an assumption that you have verified your business profile and everything is fine. So I'm going to make that assumption there. Also going to make the assumption that you are actively open and you can access all this. So let's go through it. All right, give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. Hop over here. Go there. All right, here we go. So what we have here, this is one of our clients. You can see there, Aspen Medical Center out of the Santa Fe, New Mexico area. This is a well-optimized profile. So we're going to go through what that actually looks like, but just to kind of show you some information. First off, if you're curious at how close your profile's optimized, look at your little profile string. They gave you a little circle, colored circle icon type thing. And if it's 100% filled with green, you're in really good shape. If it's not, it'll be a different color, not all the way filled. And that's the way it goes. But let's go through a couple of core things that do matter. And we'll just kind of walk right through. It's simple, but if you don't do it, it makes an impact. So let's go right through it. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to edit profile. So edit profile, first thing out of the gate. So biggest thing that we can always tell people is when you name your profile, make sure it's named exactly the same everywhere you go. So what does that mean? Whatever the name that you officially have that's on your letterhead, that's on your building, that's anytime anything is seen publicly, like if it's on a billboard, if it's online somewhere, your Facebook profile, name it all the same. And so business name right here, please name it exactly how it should be. One, Google likes it when everything's the same. If you name it different things, it may not know who you are. And so you want to be consistent about naming itself. Also, to make sure it's a legal name that you're actually utilizing. Please do not keyword stuff this. Now, the only exceptions to the rule, if you're a multi-location, you can put like Aspen Medical Center, Urgent Care dash City or something like that. That's okay. But if you do that, please make sure you do that for anything that has the name on there, just to be consistent and just makes a difference. Next, it's categories. So categories here, obviously, if you're watching and you're in urgent care, that needs to be your primary category. Now you can add multiple categories here. They don't have to even show up in the list in the drop down. So if I click here, it doesn't have to actually show up in the drop down right here. You can actually add just about anything. So, but be careful. Make sure you add things that are, overall service. Like we say, service page wise. So if you have a page on your website and it's a dedicated page on your site that's for STD testing, it would make sense to put a category on that. So go through that. Make sure you verify all those. Don't just throw in stuff just to throw in. I can show you right now. What I'm showing you is urgent care, medical clinic, walk-in clinic. Those are some key ones. After that, it's 100% dependent on what you actually offer at your facility. Next, subscription. Maximize this subscription. It needs to have the word urgent care in there. It needs to talk about who you guys are. Opportunities to put in like real information, not just generic. So if you want to talk about your doctor, talk about your care team, all the different things matter. So make sure that go in there and just make sure you max out the characters. So you have 750, we're a little 500. We could add some more if you wanted to, but, and even Gemini is stepping in right now to ask some suggestions. I don't necessarily suggest that yet, but it's there if you need it. So as much as you can there, and it makes sense to. Okay. Next, opening date. Opening doesn't matter, so you want to make sure that's put in there so we can see they've been open now for over 11 years, which is super cool. Phone number. Put your real phone number in there. Obviously, put your full website. Social profile. So this is kind of new. It's been around for a little while, but please put in all active social profiles. This does make a difference. And then next is, you can do some short name stuff. This is just helpful. Oh, you can no longer support it. You have to delete. Okay, so that's a little different. Anyway, so you can do things like that. At the end of the day, if Google gives you an opportunity to fill in something, you fill it in. Same thing with location. That's obvious. Service area, be specific here. Do not just put in blanket service areas that you really don't service. If you're a medical facility, especially in urgent care, you're probably just serving the city that you're in. If there's some like communities inside that city that Google will recognize, you can definitely put that in too. But at the end of the day, don't go crazy on this because you don't want to accidentally make it show up in different places. Also, it's less likely to rank in the specific place if you have it showing up for lots of places too. So keep that in mind. Next here, verify your hours are good and be consistent with that. Also, as a side note too, you should note that when it comes to Google Business Profile, if you're showing up on Google on a search while you're open, and then when you're not open, you're not showing up, that's intentional by Google because Google doesn't want to show closed businesses to somebody that's actively searching for something that's open. That's bad practice on Google's side. Sometimes it will show, but most of the time it won't because it's not supposed to. Why would it show if it's at 10 o'clock at night and I'm looking for an urgent care? And why would it show Aspen? Because they're not open. Wouldn't make sense to. So let's keep that in the back of mind. Any special hours that you may have, any holiday hours, you can do some other things there. Now, there's more from the business. These are things you can identify as, which is pretty cool. Once again, recommend answering every single one of these questions. With every single, I can go through all these here, but just checking off every box that you possibly can inside of this. So that's just the business information. That will get you halfway there. All right. So like halfway. Next is, so just a side note, messages are going away. So that's going away actually July 31st, which at the time of this recording is tomorrow. So this actually will go away completely. They decided to get rid of that, which I find fascinating. Next is photos. So photos going through here, obviously have a good high quality logo, add some additional photos when you can. Now you don't necessarily have complete control how they show up here. There's some limits around that. But every photo you put up there, make sure it makes sense and that it's actually of your facility, of your employees. And then if you have patients involved, you might have to get consents from them. But overall, make sure that's done. All right. We'll skip performance and advertisement for now. Advertisement, by the way, is really just a way to run Google ads through their location assets and things like that. Now, the problem with doing that is it gets a little more complicated because if you leave things on auto, in that sense, it can kind of create a mess. Next over here, though, we have products and services. So services actually, when I go here, services is actually kind of newer, but not entirely. But for a while, we had everything in products, and service wasn't full. Like it depends on your category. So sometimes a category allows different options here, but in services wasn't always a thing. So going through, you can see there's lots and lots of options you can put in here. You can add products all day long. And the goal is that you have an image, a title, and a description. And then, once again, it goes back to, do you have this content on your website? Because if you don't have this content, even though it says optional, if it says optional, you should do it. That's kind of the mindset. So you go through and add those. You can add in services, like I was saying. You can, and it goes based off categories. So going back to your categories, so if you're trying to add services underneath certain categories, that would make sense. Bookings. So bookings is typically just hook up your booking software. So that's just, they use SoftHelp. So that's how they link to that. Calls. So calls can be turned on and off. So call history itself is also going away. I forget. That's fun. So anyway, so all the call stuff is going away as well, which is just fantastic. Once again, this is just opportunities to kind of see what's going on here. And the reason why they get rid of things, honestly, is probably because it creates some controversy or some issues internally, or just general problems. So they get rid of it. But generally speaking, if they get rid of a feature, they will typically add another feature. So don't be afraid if something else pops up. Next, you got your Q&A. So Q&A is something that you have to be careful with. Google's really bad about throttling if you try to do your own Q&A. And what does that mean? Try to ask your own question, answer your own question. Now, you can get away with that, obviously, because it's based on Gmail accounts, so you can utilize friends and family to say, hey, go ask a question on my profile. And literally, it's ask a question. Like when they click on question and answers, as a user, not as an admin, they can ask a question. You actively answer it. It makes a difference. We've seen some little movements there. Not the game changer, but it's important. And then update. So update is when you're offering something unique and different. But I should note that, in urgent care world, there's some things you may not be offering an offer or an event coming up. But updates, yes. So updates is where it shows up down here. So we've used this as like the social profile or the social presence of Google Business Profile. We don't necessarily say it should be all identical stuff, but if you are posting to your social platforms right now, so like your Facebook or Instagram, chances are if you're using a tool like something that pushes it there, they probably have Google Business Profile hooked into that. So I would recommend it. It used to be like they really wanted something like every couple of days, and we still do that for a lot of our clients, but now they've kind of stretched it out to every couple of weeks. So you got some flexibility there, but definitely recommend it. And you'll see if it's too old, it just won't show, or you have to do a lot of extra clicks to find it. It may not be an option here. Yeah. So there's your add a post thing there. But anyway, all right. So those are important things there. The next thing to look at, though, is reviews. Now, I know this has been preached a bunch of times probably in the past, but the reality of it is, that's kind of funny on the timing on that. Anyway, good job, Google. But the reality of it is you need to reply to reviews, good and bad. And the reason why we say that is simply because you need to show to your audience, the audience that doesn't know you yet, are you active? If you have an issue, do you own up to it, or do you look for ways to resolve it? If they have a great experience, are you appreciating the customer for telling you about the great experience? All these things matter. And especially in the urgent care world, numbers do matter quite a bit. So this one has close to 2,000 reviews. That's a huge number. We're finding now in the urgent care space, like the standard is 1,000 to 1,200, but we're also seeing that when you get closer to 1,500, 1,800 reviews, which is a big number, not going to lie, there is some boosting in the actual ranking somewhat. So we've seen some of that because most of our urgent cares are pushing close to 2,000. While we are doing SEO work for them, we do see like their rankings are a little bit more consistent. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. It is not the end all be all. I will say that because we do have clients that have thousands of reviews, and it's not like they're magically in first place. It just doesn't work that way. If it did, it would just be a gaming of the system, and that's Google didn't play that way. So, all right, so that's some basic things there. At the end of the day, some of this stuff may take you a little bit of time and a lot of time. It kind of just depends. A couple of things, though. We don't recommend that if you're writing descriptions for your services or your profile itself, don't use just like a Chat GPT or a Gemini prompt type of thing. While that's super convenient, easy, it is 100% AI at that point if you're not careful with the prompting. So we definitely recommend that you take some time and personalize it if you can, just because we find that while AI content is not a banned thing in the Google world, it is simply frowned upon if it's straight AI, where you're just asking it one prompt and it gives you one answer and you copy paste it right in. Now, you can do some of that in the review replies because it's just a small snippet of information. It's kind of limited on how much you can detect as a true AI player in that sense. But your longer paragraph type stuff, yeah, it's going to know a little bit about that. So it wants you to be conscious of what you're putting in there and not just letting a tool do all the work for you. Anyway, so I want to walk through that with you guys. Like I said, it could take you maybe already here with all that and maybe a couple of things you may have missed. And then also just looking back real quick on performance. So you can see like this, let's go just July. There you go. So you can kind of see the information there. It's also good just trending information to kind of see. So if we go to February, July, like it was earlier, you can kind of see the consistency. And then we know summers get a little slower, which is noted, but probably in August, September, it'll bump right back up. Also some other things, kind of seeing how directions and stuff go. So kind of see what people are up to and then clicks to the site. Like that's big information too. Once again, it's just kind of telling you some basic information on what's going on. And you can even see here like how people are finding this. So you can see in this scenario, 65% of any searches relate where their profile actually showed up was on the phone, which totally makes sense. But that number used to be higher, not going to lie. Phones used to be, and it depends on categories, but phones used probably like 70, 80%. It's gone down a little bit, which I find fascinating. Don't really have a reason why behind it, but it's just the thing. Also, too, these are the search terms that this company is showing up for, which is ideal. Urgent care in Santa Fe. That's kind of an ideal keyword that you want this profile to show up for. Same thing if you're a chiropractor, any type of medical, where you want the medical category that you're in and city, that's what you really want to show up for. So you start showing up for something here that's just off, Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, they're going to show up for the name because people are looking for that too. And then like alternatives, right? Urgent care in Santa Fe Medical Center, like those type of things. That's okay. But your primary category should be kind of reflective of the search that you're showing up for, generally speaking. So keep that in mind. That's one of the things to look at performance-wise. So I just want to walk through that. But thank you guys for taking a little bit of time to listen to this. If you got questions, just let us know. Put some comments and whatnot. We're happy to answer those. And I'll catch you on the next one.